Hit the work, baby.
At least for a round or two.
First time he gets cracked, it's gonna, I guarantee you, his head's gonna be like, oh shit.
It's gonna be interesting to see what happens.
How many rounds is it?
I think it's 8.
Yeah.
Boxing World reacts, and rightly so, because Canelo Alvarez being knocked out in sparring before a Crawford showdown sends shockwaves through the sport. Elite fighters don't just collapse in camp, it signals vulnerability. Against a tactician like Crawford, this could prove fatal.
Nailed him right down the middle, straight right, and knocked him down again. And that one to finish him was a big shot, man. And I saw what he...
Some argue it's just sparring, others see deep trouble. Calling a sparring knockout learning oversimplifies things. For a fighter of Canelo's stature, being floored weeks before facing Crawford highlights defensive lapses. These are not moments to shrug off. Bud's accuracy could easily turn those same openings into fight-ending sequences.
It's good because that's only sparring. If you get dropped in sparring, it means you're learning. Tomorrow morning you don't get dropped in the same shot. So him getting dropped in sparring, that means he's learning on the job. So it's okay. Who cares? Alexander usually gets dropped in sparring, but he's learning on the job.
But beyond mistakes, confidence tells the bigger story. A sparring partner showing confidence against Canelo suggests more than youthful energy. It shows vulnerability at the top. Crawford won't hesitate to exploit that same bravado. If challengers believe they can impose themselves, Canelo's aura of control is already slipping away.
That's what probably surprised, probably what surprised me more than anything was the confidence that he had. He was getting it with me. I was world champion at that point. And this young man came in and he really just tried to...
And Crawford himself explained why this matters. Crawford sees Canelo's sparring knockdown as proof of respect. Why else surround himself with heavy sparring if he didn't feel threatened? The truth is, Canelo knows he needs every edge, but Bud thrives when rivals start preparing out of fear.
What is there to talk about? You fighting the best fighter in the world. You better be taking it serious. That goes to show, how serious he's taking me and how much he respects me. Because, if I haven't fought anyone, if I was too small, if I was, all these things that all the media said I was, then he wouldn't need these guys to help prepare him to fight me. He wouldn't, need all the help that, he's getting. But I'm happy that he's getting the help that he needs because, after, September 13th, there'll be no excuses.
Briggs may downplay the story, but repetition matters. When talk of being dropped follows a fighter through camp, it's rarely coincidence. For Canelo, it raises questions about durability and facing Crawford's timing. These aren't slips, they're warnings of what's coming.
I'm hearing things that he's been dropped in the ring, in the gym and stuff like that, but that's okay too, because I took a couple spills, little slips in the ring, in the gym. That's okay, but we're gonna see. This is gonna be a good...
Briggs may downplay the story, but repetition matters. When talk of being dropped follows a fighter through camp, it's rarely coincidence. For Canelo, it raises questions about durability and facing Crawford's timing. These aren't slips, they're warnings of what's coming.
Once, but I'm talking about with somebody who doesn't fiddle around, somebody who actually would like to get him in the latter rounds and is capable of knocking people over. He's a puncher, you've seen him do it, and he's done it well.
Promoters also know how risky this looks. McGirt's words ring true: deep waters expose conditioning, composure, and heart. If Canelo is already showing cracks in sparring, imagine round 9 against Crawford's relentless pace. Bud drags opponents into exhaustion, then punishes mistake. That sparring slip could foreshadow disaster.
Yeah, it's got to go to the deep waters. Unless somebody slips up and get caught early. But we gotta get him into the deep waters. That's the key.
Hearn frames it around legacy, but the optics matter. Losing after being dropped in sparring would confirm decline, not greatness. Crawford stepping up in weight with precision makes it worse. This fight isn't about money, it's about survival for Canelo.
If Terrence, do you think if Canelo loses, it hurts anything to his legacy?
No, Canelo's an all-time great. He's an incredible fighter. And look, I actually think this is a bad fight for him, because you're losing to 147, obviously 154 now. Like, but the money's the money, and he was never going to turn it down.
Coach Spikes nails the essence of this matchup. The sparring knockout isn't about embarrassment, it's about mental scars. When a fighter like Canelo gets humbled behind closed doors, he enters fight week knowing he's vulnerable. Crawford's blend of speed, timing, and composure will test that fragile mindset, unlike past opponents who froze under pressure. Bud thrives when he senses weakness. He doesn't just land punches, he breaks down belief systems. If Canelo starts second-guessing his chin or rushing to prove strength, Crawford will dismantle him piece by piece. The mental game, as Spikes highlights, is the true battleground, and right now Crawford looks sharper, hungrier, and more psychologically prepared to exploit every lapse.
This is going to be the key in this. Punching power, speed, timing, all that's good, but it's a mental game. This and this is what's going to carry us through that night.
Even fellow heavyweights lean toward Crawford's edge. Jarrell Miller's perspective reflects what many insiders feel. Hunger beats reputation. Canelo has the resume, but Crawford has the drive. The sparring knockout feeds into this narrative. One man is pushing himself to the edge. The other is already cracking under pressure. People underestimate Crawford's physicality because he's rising in weight, but his balance, accuracy, and stamina make him a threat in any division. Miller's emphasis on hunger is crucial. Champions often lose when comfort replaces urgency. Canelo's aura of invincibility is fading, while Crawford's self-belief grows stronger with every camp. If this fight becomes a test of grit and resilience, Crawford's hunger could prove the deciding factor, and the sparring slip may be the warning shot.
Who do you think's going to win that?
I'm pulling for Crawford in this one. I think people are underestimating his strength right now and his size. And I think he's a little more hungry than Canelo. So let's see though. But I like both guys, but I'm more a little closer to Crawford, so I want to see Crawford can take it.
And lastly, quick mention on IBA.
Duke McKenzie captures Crawford's quiet but dangerous confidence. Moving up 2 weight classes is daunting, but Crawford isn't fazed. Instead, he embraces the challenge as an opportunity to showcase adaptability. Canelo, once the poster boy for composure, now looks like the man carrying doubts after being floored in sparring. That psychological shift gives Crawford a huge edge. His style, disciplined, methodical, and relentless, doesn't rely on brute size. It thrives on exploiting mistakes and dictating rhythm. Over 12 rounds, McKenzie's prediction makes sense. Crawford can outpoint Canelo with cleaner work, sharper counters, and superior ring IQ. The knockout in sparring only amplifies this possibility, reminding us that even legends can be broken down over time.
Class, you can give weight away, okay? But there's not a difference in class, in my opinion, in this fight. Canelo is not head and shoulders above Crawford in terms of class. If there is a class difference, it'll be in Crawford's favor. I think Crawford's much more class.
Even trainers stress that no chin is unbreakable. Stephen Edwards highlights an undeniable truth: no fighter is untouchable. Yes, Canelo's chin has held up against heavy punchers, but that was before whispers of sparring knockdowns began circulating. The moment fans hear about vulnerability, opponents believe it too. Crawford is not the type to hesitate. He'll test that chin early, probing with precision shots until he finds rhythm. Edwards' point resonates. Great chins don't mean invincibility, especially against a technician who dismantles game plans. The sparring knockdown becomes symbolic. If Canelo can be hurt in the gym, he can be hurt under the lights. Crawford doesn't need one big shot. He needs discipline, and Edwards believes he has it.
I always said it. I always said I like Crawford from the very beginning of the fight.
You think you can hurt him?
Yep. Anybody could be hurt in a fight. Canelo got a great chin though, but anybody could be hurt on any given night. Don't ever think a guy can't be hurt.
Carl Froch captures the spectacle perfectly. This isn't just a fight, it's a seismic event. Crawford, unbeaten and daring to leap into Canelo's division, brings an aura of inevitability. Meanwhile, Canelo, once untouchable, is under scrutiny after being knocked out in sparring. That single detail magnifies the stakes. Fans aren't just debating skill, they're questioning durability, motivation, and hunger. Froch's framing of it as potentially the biggest fight in boxing is accurate. It's a collision of legacy and momentum, but in truth, the unbeaten streak of Crawford and the visible cracks in Canelo's armor make it feel like a generational shift. The sparring knockout isn't a side note, it's the symbol of a possible torch-passing moment.